So the foundation of the earth is already here. So it's like the earth being God.
In Genesis 1:1 says,
in the beginning,
no.
God created. Okay.
So
listen. Did David, when he was sitting on the throne, he knew the commandments too. God told him not to eat of the fruit of life, and he did. That was the main. He's saying the power.
Listen, I don't need you. I'm a grown ass man. I don't need you to talk to me. I'm well.
And all 12 is not wearing them. Right?
Sir, that's not what we talk.
That is not what we're talking about here. Nobody is asking God. Nobody is asking God. Nobody is asking.
A human disobeyed God.
Exactly.
But
the clay. And all 12 is not wearing them. Right?
So let's say, okay, so let's run with your logic.
That he said,
so as long as you be a good person and don't got your fringes on, the fringes don't matter.
That's not what I'm saying.
And so you said you have to represent God right?
Do right first, and then you can put the fringes on.
Guess what? The fringes are going to help me do right.
That's right. It's not. If you don't understand what
did we read what it said? It said, make them a fringe that they may look upon it and remember to do all the commandments of the Lord.
Right.
So the fringe is going to help me do right.
No, it's not.
I mean, you can say that, but that's literally what it said.
It says to remember.
Listen, we all was.
It didn't say you was going to do right. Just because you remember something doesn't mean that you're going to do right.
Go back to Numbers 15.
I remember things. Did David, when he was sitting on the throne, he knew the commandments too, but he still said.
And do. That's what it said. Numbers 15.
Remember and do, yes.
All the
but doesn't mean that you're going to do.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38.
Bring it out.
Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them.
Right. Yes.
Right? So for example, when we was all young in this thing and we was still in the process of learning, like we still are, we would put our fringes on. And we might go out to the grocery store and we might see something. And let me double check the ingredient list. Because guess what? It might not be a direct pork product, but guess what? It might have a pork byproduct in it, like gelatin. The fringes is going to remind me, to let me double check the ingredient label.
Because of gelatin. I didn't know that. And then even in Hormel chili, they put stuffed pork and beef together on Hormel chili. So I had to stop eating that. My grandma pointed that out to me. So
and when I'm out, the fringe reminds me I gotta double and triple check these ingredient list. Exactly. I gotta remember. If I get into it with a brother, I gotta remember these fringes help me remember. Listen, I gotta love this nigga regardless. That's right. This nigga could be pissing me off. I have to love him regardless.
That's right.
Right? You know the saying, clutch your pearls. I gotta say sometimes you just gotta clutch your fringes and go on about your day. Because these fringes are gonna help you remember and do all the rest of the commandments of the Lord. And in my personal life, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for all the brothers standing up here, these fringes help us in all of our personal life to remember and do all of the commandments of the Lord.
That's right.
I'm not saying, here's my thing, I'm not saying that don't wear the fringes once again. I'm saying you're supposed to do first, then put the fringes on. So as far as like collectively as a group of people, as a society, as a whole, like us, even as an individual, if I'm wearing the fringes, I'm representing something, and I'm representing the Most High. If I have a fringes on and I'm doing something wrong, whether I remember, but I don't do, and I got fringes on, how does that look? If the Most High say this is something that I gave to y'all to show that this is y'all special group, y'all special people that's different than everybody. That's why I have y'all wear the fringes. So you're representing him through the fringe. So you have to understand the obverse of that, of wearing the fringe. If you're not doing, and that's my only thing. I'm not saying like, okay, I agree with the text. Put them on, remember and do. But these people are already supposed to be doing this. This is what the children of Israel he's talking to at that time when they just came out of Egypt, right? When they just got flee from slavery, right? So they're relearning the commandments because they knew some of the commandments, but everything was twisted. They're relearning it, and he's giving them the tablets once again, in a sense, because Abraham knew certain commandments, Adam and Eve, but it got mixed up and they got lost. So they was in Egypt, and that's why they got sent to Egypt, because they was doing all this crazy stuff, and that's the reason why we got resent to Egypt again, because we was doing all this crazy stuff. We was the worst, and Daniel talks about we was the worst of all the other nations around us. Well, even when we got into the promised land, we was worse than the rest of the nations. So all this wearing the fringes doesn't matter. If we were if all those nations was wearing the fringes, we still was the worst. We wasn't doing. And that's my whole point. And that's the reason why we got kicked out of the land, because they was wearing fringes, but they wasn't doing. And that's my hope. So he can care less. So he stripped certain groups, Israel down, and sent them on to sent them here. Sent them right here. And we, and our ancestors didn't have fringes for the longest, but our ancestors started to do. And then we got the knowledge on how to
You know why all of that stuff happened?
Prophecy, because who wasn't obeying there was the enemies will run 7 ways. If we do, the enemies will come and attack us 7 different ways if we don't do. So yes, prophecy, because we was doing wrong. Fulio got killed the other day. They still doing wrong.
Missing, brother, they said that they was gonna attack us regardless.
The Most High said He have our enemies going 7 different ways if we obey. But if we don't obey, He gonna have 7 different people attacking us. Yes.
So let me ask you
we
this.
didn't obey. That's the whole thing.
So
we
let me
didn't
ask
obey.
you
That's the
this.
whole premise.
Let me ask you this thing, King. What does it mean that Christ is the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world? What does it mean that Christ is the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world?
The lamb slayed to the foundation of the
From
world.
the foundation of the world.
For the foundation of the world. So,
From the foundation. It says from the foundation. The Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Okay, yeah. So
what does
the
that
lamb
mean?
slain from the foundation of the world. So the lamb says he's the stone.
The Lamb is slain from the foundation of the world.
I do.
So that means before the earth was even created, Christ was already needed. Christ was the Lamb already slain from the beginning of the world, because Christ has to come and be crucified even before the earth is laid. So that means that even before the earth is created, it's already in God's own preordained sovereign will for the for the nation of Israel to go off.
No, it's not. No.
Deuteronomy 30 and 7.
Hold on, can I explain? You asked me a question, you didn't let me explain. Because you gotta understand, I do construction. You gotta understand a foundation. You asked me what a foundation was.
I used to work with this brother in waterproof, and I'm well aware of what a foundation is.
Okay,
that's right.
So a foundation.
Well aware of a foundation of a house.
Foundation is the first thing built before the house is built.
Yeah.
So it has to something you have to build first. So the foundation of the earth is already here. So it's like the earth being a place, but having no water, having nothing, a rock. So the Most High, Yeshua is the rock, right? He's the cornerstone, right?
All that's fine. From the foundation. So from the time there was no water, the earth was void and without form. He was the Lamb slain already. Before there even is an Israel to do right or wrong, he's already the Lamb slain.
It's a foundation. Something's already there. You're missing that point. Something's already there. A foundation, something has to exist. You don't have a foundation without something being there. It's said before the rest of the earth was built, yes, but it was something that already exists.
I feel like it's a point missing there. Like when God created something that's perfect, right? Ain't nothing that God created that wasn't perfect, right?
That's another thing I was talking about. But they don't believe that.
Let me finish that. So when God created it, it was perfect, right? Because ain't nothing that God created that wasn't perfect, right?
They don't believe that.
So when and then all of a sudden the world is out without form and void in about the next 2 chapters or so. It's about next 2 verses or so. The world is without form and void now, right? I feel like in my own opinion, this never came from no pastor or anything, but in my own opinion, I feel like that's when God cast the devil out of heaven, and he hit the earth, and now the earth is without form and void. Why? Because this is not something that was supposed to even have him on it.
The devil falling from heaven, that is a Christian Roman Catholic concept.
Okay.
That's a Roman Catholic
And
concept.
it makes sense. But it makes sense though.
That an angel disobeyed God? How?
So they don't believe that.
Because of the fact that a human disobeyed God.
Exactly.
How? Romans 9:21.
Because a human disobeyed God. A human that was made by God disobeyed him as well. So
Who?
how is it not? Adam and Eve.
There's only three that's perfect in heaven.
Who?
Both Adam and Eve both disobeyed
What
God.
Trinitarian?
This is the book of Romans chapter 9, verse 20.
Start at verse 20.
Slaki, this is the book of Romans chapter 9, verse 20.
Bring it out.
Nay, but O man, who art thou that repentest against... Slaki. Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, Why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor?
That verse is to say the same thing that y'all was saying, right? To bring up that
It
verse
just
is to
said
say
the
the
potter
same
has
thing.
power over the clay.
Exactly.
The man cannot say to God, why hast thou made me thus?
Nobody ever said that. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
You
saying.
just said
I'm
man
saying
disobeyed God. This is
man did disobey God.
Who has disobeyed the God of will?
God told him not to eat of the fruit of life, and he did. That was the main point.
And guess what?
That was the main point. He was in the.
It was all part of God's plan.
It was a part of God's plan, but that's not the part that's not the point that I'm trying to make. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. We was talking about the earth being void and without form, right? So so how did it become that way when anything that God creates is perfect? My God does not create anything without perfection.
It was void and without form before anything was created.
No, bro. Go take it back to Genesis 1, please, brother.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
Bring it out.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
God, right there. Hold on, pause. Right there.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said,
So in the beginning,
God created the heavens and the earth. Anything that my God creates is perfect. There's nothing.
Here's the problem. Here's why both of y'all are misunderstanding this verse, because you don't understand Hebrew.
We the same. We say the same.
I'm not.
No. You have to understand Hebrew. That's why. That's why the first.
I do
So
understand.
what is it in Hebrew?
God created.
Is this the
No,
Genesis
that's
1:1
not
in the
the
beginning?
original script.
It's not.
But
It's
that's
not
what
the
I'm talking
original
about.
beginning. It's not the very beginning.
It is the very beginning.
No, it's not.
It is. That's,
You want to
that's-
say Elohim right there? He's saying the power.
Listen, I don't need you. I'm a grown ass man. I don't need you to talk for me.
No.
I'm well capable of articulating my point. I don't need you to speak for me. I know how to articulate what I believe.
What I'm trying to explain though is that the point that you're trying to make, I totally understand.
No, you don't.
But the point,
I haven't even been allowed to make my point for you to understand my point.
I've been here plenty of times.
I know. I remember you. What I'm saying. As far as me and you having this dialogue, you don't understand my point that I'm trying to make because I haven't even made it. So you can't understand my point. So again, in the Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, that beginning in Hebrew is bara ashaya, meaning not meaning the very first thing that's ever happened. That means the chief or the head, not the very first. In John 1:1, that's the actual beginning. That word in Greek is arche. So in John 1:1, that's the actual very beginning because that's where
the actual beginning, when the beginning is the beginning. He says in the beginning. In the beginning. That's the first three words is in the beginning.
All right, let's see
In
what
the beginning, God created.
John chapter 1 from the top.
Bring it out.
In the beginning was the
what's
word.
the first three words
In the
there?
beginning was the word.
Was the word?
No.
Oh,
You're not about to.
The heavens and earth.
You're not about to. No.
You're not about. Was the word?
No.
Right.
No. Listen.
So now we have two separate beginnings.
No. We have.
Now we have two separate
We have two of the
beginnings.
same beginnings.
No, we
but
don't.
you're just
No, we don't.
mixing it up. No.
I'm not
Yes, we
mixing
do.
anything up.
We have two of the
Do you
same
do you
beginnings.
understand
Listen. It says in the beginning, God was the Word. Right?
It's in the beginning was the word.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God.
In Genesis 1:1 says,
In the beginning,
God created heaven and earth.
God created. Okay.
So listen.
So
in the beginning there was God, right?
So listen.
God made the
listen.
word.
Are
And
you
then
not?
the
You're
word
not
started creating
you're not
heaven
gonna
and
listen.
earth.
No.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
not what it
yes,
said.
yes,
That's not what it
yes,
said.
yes.
That's not what. Hold on,
Yes,
bro.
yes,
Hold on.
yes.
I'm gonna let you in there.
Yes,
What
yes,
it said?
yes.
No, it's not. No, it's not, brother. You gotta listen. You gotta listen, bro. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're just talking. Listen.
Because I know what I'm
You're
talking
not-
about. That's
you're not,
why.
But you're not.
That's
You're not
why.
listening.
Because
You're
I
not
know what I'm
listening.
talking about.
You're not letting me get my point across. What I'm saying is, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth, right? And then halfway through the book, you're talking about, in the beginning, the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelled among us. I know the Bible, bro. You're not about to overteach me. What I'm talking about is
You need to
the
be
Word.
taught again.
No.
Because you
The Word.
believe
No,
fallen angels,
listen.
and you believe man disobeys God. You need to be taught
Man
again.
did disobey God.
You need to be taught again.
Man did disobey God, brother.
You need to be taught
Man
again.
did disobey God. It don't matter which man it was, but man did disobey God. Man,
No, God made vessels to honor and vessels to dishonor. We just read that.
He made.
We just read that.
He
That's
did
right.
make vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor. But the part that you leaving out is that the vessels of honor that he made got confused by the vessels of dishonor.
It said the potter has power over the clay, right?
The potter.
So does the clay have power
potter-
over the potter?
No, the potter has power over the clay.
You're the clay,
But the
and the Most High is the
clay
So
has
the
its
Most High
own.
God has
But the
power
clay
over you, not you the other
listen,
way.
But listen though, the clay has its own will.
No, it doesn't.
That's what you don't. Yes, it
Do
does.
you understand pottery?
Yes, it does.
Do you
Yes, it
understand
does.
pottery?
Do you
Do you
understand what the
understand
potter is?
pottery?
Do you understand the parable
Do you
of the potter and the
understand
clay?
pottery?
Do you understand the parable of the
So
potter
if you
and the
take a
clay?
lump of clay and do pottery,
That's
you
not
mean to tell
what
me
we're
that the
talking about
clay-
here, sir.
You mean to tell me
That's
that
not
the
what we
clay could be something that you don't make it?
That is not what we're talking about here, sir. That is not what we're talking about here, sir. We're talking about God and God as the potter. God and the potter and us as the person, as the clay.
Because before y'all
And the clay, us as the clay, has our own free will. And you can look that up in the Bible. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You know the Bible. What verse
yes.
is it? What verse is it?
let me interject real
Get
quick.
the Bible verse.
I
You
want
know
to
the Bible.
make
I
this
can't teach you. Get the Bible verse.
I want to make this statement because
the Bible verse.
it was
Romans
talking
9 to 20.
So when it was talking about the beginning, it was
This is
talking
the
about
book of Romans chapter 9, verse 20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus?
Genesis is
Have
talking
Can the
about
thing
Genesis.
form? Can the thing form?
Nobody
say
is
to
asking
him that
God.
formed it.
Nobody is
"Why hast
asking
thou
God.
made me
Nobody
thus?"
is asking
So that
God.
means if God made you a
Nobody is
goddamn
asking God.
toilet,
No.
you can't be mad that
Nobody
God
is
made you a
asking.
damn
Nobody,
toilet.
nobody is asking God why am I what I am? That's not the question here. That's not the question here at all. The question here
Man, listen, the
is
potter has power over
That's
you.
the difference between John.
You don't got free will.
nobody.
You don't got free will.
Yeah, I'm done talking.
That's what I was saying.
Shalom.
Shalom. He don't believe in free will.
Enjoy it, brother.
I'm trying to
Shalom.
get to him, but I don't think nobody can. I mean, this is the reason why he said, stiff-necked people.